Donald Trump is wounded. Donald Trump is in bad shape, both in the polls, in bad shape for the state of the economy. And the problem is none of this can be fixed in any form because what he has done is he has changed the economy in such a manner that coming back ain't gotta be easy. Anyhow, I want you to listen to this part from Morning Joe, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Look at everything that's going right now. I mean, when it rains, it pours, and it's really pouring politically on the White House right now. You can look at the 36% approval rating of the latest AP poll. Right track, wrong track, sitting around 33%. Only 1 in 3 Americans think the country's going in the right direction. 2 out of 3 think the country's going in the wrong direction. And here's this AP approval poll, 62% disapproving. This is record lows for the president in this term, and it's approaching his record lows for the last term. You also look at other polls showing only 33% of Americans agree with how the president is running the federal government. Only 33% of Americans agree on how the president is running the economy. Only 34%. Hello, Democrats. Pay attention, Democrats. Only 34% of Americans agree with the president and how he's running health care. And he's even 15 percentage points upside down on immigration because, again, the heinous scenes that we're seeing of children once again being ripped from their mother's arms, teachers being ripped out of schools that they're teaching. And all of this is a toxic mix. And then you add on top of it the Epstein issues, and it feeds into something that you wrote about a couple of days ago. And you actually wrote about this before the latest news broke on Jeffrey Epstein. And that's talking about Donald Trump, a lamer duck than ever. And you write in part this: beyond the undertones of lost influence, being a lame duck can also suggest a president distracted, disengaged, but biding time. But lame duck also carries with it connotations of diminishing cachet relating to a leader's lost status and creeping powerlessness. Trump and his allies have worked to foster a sense of unquestioned authority and permanence, and they're very successful doing that. Yet Trump has looked much less daunting and invincible in recent days.
So yes, he's even down with Republicans. I mean, that was his buffer. That was his sink. That was that heat sink that had so much heat in it that he would always be able to count on his MAGA base. Well, like we stated for a long time, the people that he has screwed the most aren't the blue liberals, aren't the liberal states. The people that Donald Trump have really screwed is his own. And they are starting to feel it. And those that are not sycophants or gullible or cultists, they're realizing that, no, it's not the Democrats causing their problem. It is Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is starting to act as a wounded wild animal. And wounded wild animals are dangerous. That's why a distraction is being played in the southern seas, where he wants one to believe that we are about to invade Venezuela. This is the president that came into office saying he doesn't believe in forever wars. But in order to take your mind off of Epstein, in order to take your mind off of a failing economy, in order to take your minds off of the big bad bill that's going to leave people without insurance, he's going to create wars. He's going to spend money that instead could have been spent on your health care. Instead of paying a whole bunch of money for bombs, bringing the largest aircraft carrier into the Caribbean Sea, plus all the supporting ships, the amount of money that he is letting go before he's dropped one bomb. Think about how many people could have gotten health care. Think about that. This is a failed presidency. This is a failed presidency, and we are complicit. Well, those who voted for him are complicit in what's occurring with our country right now. And unfortunately, the recovery ain't gonna be easy. The recovery ain't going to be easy. And you know what isn't going to solve it? What isn't going to solve the problem is trying to throw it into the hands of corporations to help us out of it, which is exactly what he's done by weakening the government. Remember, these parasites, that's all they do. That's all they want. We better get smart. It's on us. It's on us. The first part of the job was done as we won across the entire country. The country made that necessary leftward move throughout the country. That's just the beginning. We need a wave 3 times that size in next year, November. And we need to make it that strong that we don't only have a slight lead in Congress, that we have a veto, not a veto proof, a veto returning proof in Congress, which means we can override a presidential veto. That's the kind of win we need in Congress, and that's the kind of win we need in the Senate. We need 60 votes in the Senate. People say that's impossible. Well, things are bad. They are destroying the country. It is proven that MAGA cannot govern. We knew that Republicans couldn't govern, but at least they gave some sort of plausibility that at least they wouldn't crater the country. But MAGA, my God, MAGA has no sense of governing, no sense of economy, no sense of all of these. It is time for you to act. Everybody, from Gen Z right up to baby boomer, right up to the Great Society, all of you have got to act. All of you have got to get these criminals out of office. All of you have got to reclaim what is supposed to be America.
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.